Hello, a warm welcome to you. This is Nationwide. I'm Ruth Aguilera. We'll begin from Doha, where President Muhammadu Buhari says if no one is to be left behind in the quest to achieving sustainable development goals, least developed countries must be given urgent and robust assistance towards unlocking their potential and building socio-economic resilience. This was while addressing the 5th United Nations Conference on Least Developed Countries in Doha, the state of Qatar. We'll bring you the full details in the course of the bulletin. Let's also inform you that Iran is seeking to collaborate more effectively with Nigeria towards deepening and expanding their relations in the oil and gas, agriculture and other critical sectors for enhanced socio-economic well-being of the two countries and their people. Now, this came to the light when President Muhammadu Buhari granted audience to the Iranian Vice President Mohsen Mansouri on the margins of the UN Conference on the Least Developed Countries in Doha. We'll also bring you the details in the course of the bulletin. Let's turn to other issues. Nigeria and India have signed a memorandum of understanding to partner on meteorological science, technical research and development. NIMET Director General Professor Mansur Matazu signed the MOU on behalf of the federal government during the recent Executive Council meeting of the World Meteorological Organization held in Geneva, Switzerland. Minister of Aviation, Senator Hadi Sirika, who oversaw the signing ceremony alongside the Indian High Commission to Geneva, said the MOU marked another milestone in the unprecedented growth of NIMET under the Buhari administration. He said the event was also a great testimonial to the global leadership of NIMET within the world meteorological community attained during the tenure of Professor Mansur Matazu as Director General. Professor Mansour said the main objective of the proposed collaboration is to provide bilateral relations between NIMET and its Indian counterpart towards meteorological development in the two countries. All right, let's join Michael in Lagos to pick up with more reports from his end. Michael?
Has rights, duties, liabilities, and privileges which are provided for in the hundreds of laws that exist in Nigeria. Correspondents went to town to find out how many Nigerians know their rights and what they can do with them.
Every Nigerian citizen is entitled to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, including freedom to change his religion or belief. The Constitution further guarantees a citizen's right to manifest and propagate his religion or belief in worship, teaching, practice, and observance. Other rights include right to life, education, and movement. Since these rights are at the core of Nigerian democracy, laws that uphold those rights allow for certain actions to be taken when they are violated. The question now is, how many Nigerians know these rights?
To exercise my rights, like when it comes to our leaders of speech, to benefit free medical, to allow education.
Legal practitioners agree that the concept of human rights empowers people and tells them that they deserve dignity from society, whether it's the government or their environment. If they don't receive it, they can stand up.
If you read up your rights, you should be able say if somebody is infringing on your right, excuse me, this is my right. And I think we should go back to the basics. Our civic education should be strengthened such that at that young age we are taught our basic rights and obligations.
The general consensus, therefore, is that knowing your rights will help you know the rules so that you will never break them. In Lagos, Hingino.
Right. We apologize for the poor signal there from Lagos. Let's pick up from here. The Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy is repositioning its workforce for effective management and leadership in the fourth industrial revolution driven by ICT. The ICT boss, Professor Isa Ali Pantami, is engaging the Galaxy backbone staff on this. Let's hear from Chinimdema in the BC.
Core mandates of the Galaxy backbone are to provide shared ICT infrastructure applications, build nationwide broadband network, host government data, and deploy applications across government institutions. The agency's activities are viewed as vital.
I apologize for that hitch there. The dreaded queues are here again, with motorists lamenting the long hours spent to get petrol. Now, the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority has attributed the queues to tanker drivers taking time off for the presidential elections. We'll join our correspondent now, Lydia Sampson, who is standing by to give us a live situation in one of the petrol stations. Lydia, this morning I saw the whole queues right over from the weekend, but what's the situation where you are at this time?
Well, the situation here is that motorists are waiting on queues. Initially they were dispensing, but right now nothing seems to be happening. And I can tell you, Ruth, that motorists here are very angry. According to them, whatever the reason, this is happening one time too many. And they believe the authorities and the regulatory members know what is responsible. And they cannot just comprehend why they have to waste hours, productive hours, waiting to get fuel. So they are very angry. We even tried to get some people to talk to us, but they would rather not. While standing here waiting for you to join me live, a lot of people passing by were even throwing silly comments at us, feeling as if NTA is part of it all. But the situation here, Ruth, is that motorists are angry. They are angry that this is happening one time too many.
Lydia, I can imagine it's very unfortunate. I can imagine what you and the crew there are going through at the moment. It's affecting everybody, no doubt. But the downstream and midstream, made attribution that it's because of the election over the past weekend. But what is being done? Have you spoken to any of any authority, so to say, to find out how this problem can be fixed?
Beyond the statement they gave earlier on, we have not been able to speak to them directly because they kept saying everything is contained in their statement. But Ruth, the complexity of oil supply, the supply chain is that one day or even 30 minutes disruption will have ripple effects, especially in places like Abuja and Lagos where the traffic is high. Hopefully we will bounce back, but for now, everyone is on his toe, trying to make sure the supply gap and the supply chain is reactivated.
Thank you very much, Lydia, for that update, and we just hope this situation is fixed as soon as possible. Thank you, and please be safe out there, okay?
That's the prayer of us all. Thank you. Thank you, Ruth.
All right, let's go on a break. We're back to continue the news. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Last week, the Supreme Court directed that the old 200 naira, 500 naira and 1,000 naira notes should remain in circulation to the end of the year. We'll join our business correspondent now, Bosede Abel, live. She's in the streets of Abuja to tell us what's the update. Bossa, it's a brand new week following the Supreme Court judgment over the weekend, last week, so to say. Have you seen the 500, 200 or 1,000 naira, the old notes in particular, in circulation?
Okay, thank you very much. In line with the Supreme Court's ruling on Friday that the old Naira notes should coexist with the Naira redesigned, the new notes. Well, as at that Friday, I was able to speak with some bank officials who told me that they were waiting for the next line of action, from the Apex Bank. So today I'm at Zone 3, where Area 3, I beg your pardon, where most of the banks are lined up here in Abuja. And I am here with some respondents. And moments ago, I was just told moments ago that some commercial banks have started paying out the old Naira notes. So I have Mr. Patrick here with me. Mr. Patrick, please. Mr. Patrick Aderomo, how are you today, sir?
Fine, thank you.
What would you say is the situation of things now, sir?
I've been here since 5 a.m. and I've never got any money. They said they don't have any cash. So we are in a very, I don't know what else to say, serious dilemma. And I come from a far place.
So what do you have to say with the updates now with the cash policy? What do you have to say with the updates right now?
What I really want to say is that to me, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an economist. But to me, Supreme Court doesn't have any jurisdiction over monetary policy. CBN is an independent somebody under the president. So what they are doing, I can't say whether it's good because I have my money, but I can't touch it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So.
Thank you. Can we have you here, sir? All right. So what would you say is the situation right now in line with the Supreme Court ruling on Friday?
Unfortunately, nothing has changed.
Can you look at it?
Yeah, nothing has changed. We've been here since 5 a.m. We met so many people here. At the end of the day, by 8 o'clock, they fixed this canopy that we should sit down. We sat down. They went inside. Nobody came out to address us. So we just decided to say, okay, let us wait till 4 o'clock before we leave. That is the situation. Nothing has changed. Yes.
Okay, well, that is the situation right now on the street. People are expecting to hear the next line of action, in line with the cashless policy. Over to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Bosade, for that update. We'll definitely keep our eyes there to ensure that compliance is adhered to. Thank you, Bose. All right, let's pick up with political issues. The People's Democratic Party and its 2023 presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, have submitted a letter of petition to the Independent National Electoral Commission demanding cancellation of the 25th February 2023 presidential election. Timothy Yusuf reports that the party laid the complaint during a peaceful protest to the INEC headquarters in Abuja.
First gathering after the 25 February presidential and national assembly polls. They came with a common agenda, a peaceful march to the INEC headquarters to register grievances over alleged irregularities.
North Central All Progressives Congress stakeholders have expressed confidence that the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will make his government a youth-friendly one. The group is equally hoping that a worthwhile reward system will be adopted to acknowledge hard work. Salihu Gwanara reports.
Stakeholders acknowledged the voting strength of the North Central geopolitical zone that led to the successes of the All Progressives Congress in the last 3 cycles of elections, in which the party came out top at the center since its formation in 2013.
As a sagacious leader, we have no fear about your ability to fetch the best hands for further assignment. Politics is over. It is now time for governance, which is why we also lend our voice to the call on the opposition to accept, as Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu extend a hand of fellowship to them in the interest of peace and our shared interest for the development of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, Ibokwenu for Tinubu and Shetima has appealed to Nigerians to join hands and work with the president-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the task of sustaining the gains and rebuilding the country.
Even with statistics, none of these two parties have got the moral standard, the statistics standard to do what we've been able to achieve. APC won the election because we believe that God, who knows how to put the right people in the right place, will bring him on board authority of power to serve Nigeria.
The group acknowledged the active participation of Nigerians towards building a lasting democracy beyond 2023 in Abuja. Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
All right, let's go to Maiduguri to join our presenter there, I beg your pardon, Ladidi. She's standing by for more reports. Ladidi, it's your turn.
Hello, Ruth, and welcome to Maiduguri. Adequate arrangements are being made by the electoral umpire and other relevant authorities in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital, toward ensuring a seamless gubernatorial and state assembly elections scheduled to hold on Saturday, 11th March 2023. Although refresher training for electoral officials and ad hoc staff is being conducted among other measures to avert challenges encountered in the previous exercise. Abubakar Musa reports.
One of the essential ingredients of election is to ensure that adequate modalities are put in place, such as refreshing the minds of key actors for a successful outcome. The electoral umpire, Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Borno State, has organized a refresher training for all ad hoc staff towards averting certain anomalies experienced in the last presidential and National Assembly elections, like commencement of voting and inadequate logistics.
A nationwide refresher training is being conducted to abreast and update the ad hoc staff about their roles, as well as face-to-face training that will be combined to be given to them, so that the hitches or glitches obtained during the last presidential and National Assembly election will be corrected.
Security organizations are also on top of their game towards overall success of the forthcoming polls, as all bottlenecks experienced in the previous exercise have been tackled.
The NSCDC has a covenant with Nigeria. We are going to give all that we have to support the Nigerian police, who is the lead agency in this activity.
With preparations now in top gear ahead of the polls, the citizenry are expected to equally play their part to the fullest by abiding to laid-down rules, as well as showing more resilience and understanding to the entire process. In Maiduguri, Abubakar Musa, NTA News.
The Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbi Alamin Al-Kanemi, has commended network of civil society organization in Borno for amplifying voices and challenges of citizens, especially humanitarian service provision in a state with a peculiar security situation. This when the officers led zonal chairman Ahmed Shehu paid him a sympathy visit over the unfortunate Monday market fire disaster after a spot assessment of the market. Mimuna Garba reports.
Network of civil society organizations in Borno NEXOP is engaged in ensuring accountability in service delivery, advocacy, monitoring government policies and humanitarian support. The Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbi Al-Amin El-Kenemi, while receiving the CSO groups, sympathized with the traders for the sad disaster that befell his people, urging them to take it as an act of God. Executive Director, Northeast Civil Society Organizations, Ahmed Shehu, appreciated Borno State Governor and APC stakeholders for immediate donations to cushion the hardship of the victims. Ahmed Shehu further solicited support from well-meaning individuals to reach out to the traders, as they are now mentally, emotionally and physically affected by the loss of their livelihoods. Borno State Chairman, Network of Civil Society Organizations, Bulama Abiso, and Director Women both sympathized with the people over the mysterious calamity and prayed God to comfort them. The Network of Civil Society Organizations has taken an on-the-spot assessment of damage done to the market by the fire.
We're going to discuss with our supporters, we're going to discuss with our colleagues so that we get support to the market, the traders as well as the people of Borno.
Were received by the General Manager Monday Market, Mustafa Skori, who briefed and took them around the destroyed areas. The civil society organization expressed shock over the magnitude of destruction and promised to amplify support to the traders. In Maiduguri, NTA News.
And that is from here. It's back to you, Ruth, for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Ladidi. Ahead of this Saturday's governorship and state houses of assembly elections, strategic commanders of police formations have been charged to provide the needed leadership to ensure a peaceful atmosphere for the electorate and those on election duty. Inspector General of Police Usman Alkali Baba gave the directive at a meeting with strategic commanders at the force headquarters in Abuja. Let's hear more from Francis Fom.
Use this forum to convey my sincere appreciation and commendation to you all seated here, and indeed to the entire Nigeria Police.
The police chief, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, is impressed with the performance and conduct of his men at the last week's presidential and National Assembly elections, but wants an improvement.
I charge you all to recommit yourselves to national duty and sustain the high operational level that is attracting a broad commendation to the force.
Here he is meeting them for another national assignment. It is about this week's governorship and state assembly elections. Nothing less is expected from you, Alkali Baba told strategic commanders.
You must be prepared to work more assiduously towards providing the requisite strategic leadership in your various posts for your personnel in guaranteeing an electoral and general public space that will remain stable, peaceful, and secure enough to keep citizens in no doubt of our unwavering commitment to their yearning for a credible electoral process as we come up to the 2023 general elections in a few days' time.
IGP Alkali Baba reminded the strategic commanders of the force to see towards their operations within the rule of law and remain non-partisan, firm and supportive to INEC.
I also admonish parents and guardians to prevail on their children and wards to resist the urge of being recruited as canon funders or the supplying agents to disrupt our electoral process. The Nigerian Police will be allowed to its responsibility.
Towards dousing the tension that may have arisen in the presidential and National Assembly elections, IGP Alkali Baba applauds the initiative of the Lagos and some states' commissioners of police on peace and ordered other CPs to follow suit. IGP Alkali Baba assures Nigerians and the international community of the force's commitment to protection of lives and property with strict adherence to the rules of engagement. Francis from NTA News.
Barely 6 days to the governorship and state houses of assembly polls, the Independent National Electoral Commission has been urged to fine-tune preparation for the exercise in line with the Electoral Act to improve on its performance in the just concluded February 25th presidential election and address the shortcomings and complaints raised by political parties and their candidates. This is from a vox pop conducted in Calabar Metropolis ahead of the March 11 polls. Oba Hyacinth reports.
The result of the presidential and National Assembly polls continue to dominate discussions in the country, even after the announcement of results. Most Nigerians are now having mixed feelings as to what becomes of the March 11 polls. However, respondents want the electorate not to be worried, but to turn out embers.
Everything should be peaceful. It should be peaceful, no fight. We have to pray for that our leader. Anybody that God give us, it's our own. You know, leaders, we have to pray for it, not a fight. Tell our children to fight.
In the forthcoming election, we also have it peacefully, and whatever the results are, we'll take it as it comes. So we are hoping that there will be no crisis.
The respondents appealed to INEC and the security agencies to work toward perfecting the statutory responsibilities to the people. They expressed optimism that, with the correction of the issue raised in the last elections, the 11th March election will be credible, and hitch-free. In Calabar, Oba Hyacinth.
Legal experts on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria have called for the establishment of special courts to decide election litigations. They note that this has become necessary as the regular courts cannot cope with the litany of election litigations. Lydia Sampson reports.
Election litigations are within the confines of the rule of law and the rights of litigants, but experts in Good Morning Nigeria attribute the great number of election cases to failure in electoral obligations, for which they regret no one is arrested.
To ensure that the democratic process is followed in its traditional form, the INEC admitting that there are some bit of malfeasance in the last presidential election, and we've not heard anything that anybody's been arrested. Are they above the law? And for instance, we are yet to have a proper electoral offences commission, apart from the electoral offences stated in the Electoral Act and probably in some of these criminal laws that we have. And we don't have a very effective measure to doing it.
The guest noted that the courts must serve or be seen to serve electoral justice while being careful not to sacrifice the will of the people on the altar of technicalities.
If necessary, a case decided by the Federal High Court should be circulated to the other judges so that they know what the other has decided. Because once there are too many contradictory judgments, people will lose confidence in the judicial system.
Because social media is a very dangerous place, a lot of fake news is on social media, and all the observer reports, that's part of what they realize. So you are predetermining outcomes of election disputes on social media. Whereas when you go to court, a lot of these things don't come before the judges. Well, the judges cannot use social media as a basis for entering a judgment. They must do it based on demonstration of the evidence and facts adduced before the court, subject to cross-examination by the opposing party.
They advise election litigants to refrain from deciding cases on social media, as this will not in any way sway justices handling their cases. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
All right, let's take you back to the report we called earlier, where we told you that the PDP and its presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, submitted a petition to INEC seeking for the cancellation of the just concluded presidential elections. Our correspondent Timothy Yusuf will tell us the details.
PDP National Working Committee and members of the party's presidential campaign organization at the Abuja Legacy House of the PDP, first gathering after the 25 February presidential and national assembly polls. They came with a common agenda, a peaceful march to the INEC headquarters to register grievances over alleged irregularities in the conduct of the recent presidential election, where the PDP candidate emerged runner-up. The march to INEC led by Atiku Abubakar, with PDP National Chairman Senator Yocha Ayu presenting their letter of grievance to INEC.
We call on INEC not only to cancel the election, but do the needful and conduct a very credible election.
INEC National Chairman, represented by the National Commissioner, Voter Education, Festus Okoye, restated the Commission's allegiance to the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
If there are remedial issues to be dealt with, we are going to deal with those remedial issues.
Away from the INEC headquarters, a group under the banner of Votes Must Count International Initiatives enjoined INEC to reawaken citizens' confidence going forward.
The leadership of INEC did not host an election with the influence of the Electoral Act.
The Senator Usman Wowo led People's Forum Abuja, on the contrary, enjoined aggrieved political parties and their candidates to seek legal redress rather than acts that may breach the nation's enduring peace.
And we believe that whatever the outcomes from the court, every of them will be abided by it, rather than taking law into our hands.
They urged politicians to demonstrate sincere love.
Timothy Yusuf there reporting. We'll head into Sokoto to join Nana. She'll pick up with some more reports. Nana?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sokoto. Sokoto State Police Command has launched Operation Kulekas just as part of proactive measures towards nipping any security threats before, during, and after the March 11th governorship state assembly elections in the state. Dalhatu Abdullahi reports.
Addressing newsmen on the new development, the State Police Commissioner Muhammad Hussein Gumel said the operation, which translates eyeball-to-eyeball crackdown, will among others deal with troublemakers in the state before, during, and after the elections. According to the CP, anybody found holding weapons of any kind will be arrested, their sponsors be found and punished accordingly. CP Gumel further warned that the window of negotiation or bail of any suspect is over in relation to thuggery. Anybody who goes for such person would be arrested for sabotage. In his charge to members of the operation, which comprises of sister security agencies in the state, CP Muhammad Gumel urged them to redouble efforts in the task ahead.
The police and other agencies, including the military and the air force, cannot sit down and watch these activities going on unchecked.
Sokoto State Police Command also warned members of vigilante groups, hunters, and the non-conventional force that they have no place in electioneering process, and anybody who gets involved will be arrested. In Sokoto, Alhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sultan of Sokoto Muhammad Saad Abubakar has urged the Nigerian Air Force to support military and other security agencies towards addressing insecurity in Sokoto State. He made the call while receiving the newly posted Commandant's 119 Composite Group Nigerian Air Force Sokoto Command Air Commodore Ekele Stephen Odekina at his palace. Dalhatu Abdullahi again reports.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar described security as everybody's business, assuring that traditional leaders will continue to play their role to assist all security operatives carry out their duties. The monarch urged the newly posted Air Force commander to support the military toward tackling banditry in the state. Commander 119 Nigerian Air Force Sokoto Command, Air Commodore Ekele Stephen Odenika, said he is at the palace to seek for fatherly advice and royal blessings. He said one of the responsibilities of the Nigerian Air Force is protecting the territorial integrity of the nation and providing air support to all military operations.
Not only to pay that respect, but to appeal that the same support and guidance that my predecessor had enjoyed won't be extended to me, if not more.
The Sultan also granted audience to the newly posted Commandant, Nigerian Security and the Civil Defense Corps, Sokoto Command, Bello Alkali Argungu. Muhammad Saad Abubakar tasked them to always respect the fundamental human rights of the citizens while carrying out their constitutional responsibility. Newly posted Commandant and SCDC Sokoto Command, Bello Alkali Argungu, said he seeks support and guidance from the Sultan as custodian and spiritual leader in the country. The NSCDC Commandant Sokoto State assured of their readiness to work with other security agencies in the state. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar has tasked the Nigerian Customs Service on the need to use technology in border control and management. The Sultan threw the challenge while receiving the newly posted Area Controller, Nigerian Customs Service, Sokoto, and Zamfara State's Command, Dr. Musa Omali, at his palace. The report.
Sultan Muhammad Saad said land borders in the country are becoming too porous and there is a need for the Nigerian Customs Service to improve their mode of operations by using technological advancements to address the challenges. He also called on Customs Service to look at possibility of channeling seized contraband food items to supporting internally displaced persons. He assured the service of his support.
Whatever I generate as revenue, I want to ask that at least 80% of it should be used in these communities to make our lives better.
The newly posted Area Controller, Nigerian Customs Service, Sokoto Zamfara State's Command, Dr. Musa Omali, said he is at the palace to solicit for blessings in the task ahead. He reiterated the command's commitment to improve their relationship with border communities in the state.
We need your support. We need your blessing so that we'll be able to continue in our duty.
The Sultan later presented him a book on principles of leadership written by the founders of the Sokoto Caliphate. In Sokoto, Dalhatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Well, that's our contribution to Nationwide. We'll take a short break, but Nationwide will continue in Benin with Obehi after the break.
Welcome to Benin. Ahead of the 2023 governorship and State House of Assemblies elections, religious leaders in Benin, the Edo State capital, have canvassed active participation of the electorate for the emergence of credible leaders as governors and legislators in this Saturday's election. Rosemary Omani has details.
Religious leaders, while applauding Nigerian electorate for conducting themselves peacefully during the presidential and National Assembly elections on February 25, 2023, said every Nigerian should show interest in electing credible leaders, hence the need for them to come out en masse and perform their civic duties this Saturday.
We enjoin the people who are to be elected to conduct themselves wisely and peacefully so that we'll have credible elections. And then to the people who are going to elect them, also to abide by the rules of the game.
For those that have been elected already, the mandate have been given to you. I will encourage you to do your best.
Those that have not been winners should understand that promotion comes from God. And if they have addressed institutionally.
They also called on the electorate umpire to correct all the lapses recorded during the presidential and National Assembly elections for a similar conduct, as they advised the electorate not to be intimidated but come out and cast their ballots to elect their preferred candidates.
Don't say that things didn't work the way you expected in the last one, therefore you are not going. It is your right. Go there, cast your vote.
The governorship and state assemblies elections hold on Saturday, March 11, 2023. Rosemary Omani, NTA News.
Following the ruling of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, which validates old Naira notes till December 31, Akure residents are earnestly waiting for the execution of the judgment by the Central Bank of Nigeria in order to cushion the biting effect of scarcity of cash in circulation. Shegun Lawali reports.
It's a cheery news for Nigerians as the Supreme Court ordered the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to allow the old 200, 500 and 1,000 Naira notes coexist with the new ones as legal tender till December 31, 2023. With this development, residents of Akure applauded the judgment, which they believed has relieved them of stress in getting new Naira notes.
For instance, those of our people that are in remote areas, there are no banks there. And they say this thing, the times frame was so short that they could not meet the something. Some even died along the line. So this thing that is extended to December 31st is the best.
If our government can follow the good, but me, I don't have old Naira. The only problem I have with government now is to withdraw cash.
CBN had earlier succumbed to pressure by allowing as legal tender only the old 200 Naira out of the redesigned ones till April, which the Supreme Court has invalidated. Shegun Lawale, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Ruth in Abuja.
Thank you very much, Obehi. All right, let's take you back to the report we called earlier at the start of this bulletin, where we told you that President Muhammadu Buhari made a case for total inclusivity for least developed countries in achieving the sustainable development goals happening in Doha, the UN summit for least developed countries happening in Doha. Adamu Sambo, State House correspondent, reports.
Nigeria is here to show solidarity and support to the least developed countries in their quest to achieve the sustainable development goals.
Least developed countries, President Buhari says, are facing enormous challenges and therefore in need of transformative solutions. The theme of the event, From Potential to Prosperity, he believes, is not only apt, but indeed a call to action in addressing their developmental vulnerabilities and challenges that are not always of their making.
As a matter of urgency, there are a number of priorities we have to focus on to help achieve sustainable development goals in these countries and ensure their prosperity. There is no doubt that the least developed countries need enormous financial support and investment of enormous resources to reduce poverty, create jobs, combat hunger, expand social protection systems, and ensure quality education.
Nigeria, the president explains, is strongly committed to achieving the SDGs and believes that the Doha Program of Action presents a viable framework for achieving these goals. He therefore urges developed countries, civil society actors, the private sector, and the business community to partner with the least developed countries in order to provide them necessary resources and help develop their capacities to achieve the economic, social, and environmental goals of the 2030 Agenda.
Nigeria canvasses for duty-free and quota-free market access for products originating from the least developed countries to ensure their integration in regional and global value chains. Similarly, it is important to put in place modalities to facilitate transit cooperation, transfer of technologies, and access to global e-commerce platforms, as they are critical for least developed countries' integration into the regional and global value chains and communication technology services.
President Buhari is also worried that least developed countries continue to suffer disproportionately from the effects of climate change despite contributing the least to its causes, noting that deaths from climate-related crises are higher in the most vulnerable countries, with projections that there will continue to be an upward trend.
Accordingly, we must prioritize cutting global emissions and work with determination to hold warming to 1.5 degrees, thereby securing our children's future. We must also commit to helping build resilience in developing countries, while also providing the needed technical as well as financial support for a just transition to renewable energy.
The world leaders, he also said, must continue to focus on how best to ensure the provision of security, education, health, and other basic services for their people in order to guarantee a prosperous future for all. From Doha, Qatar, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And still staying in Doha on the sidelines of the UN conference on least developed countries, let's also tell you that Iran is seeking to partner with Nigeria on critical areas like oil and gas, agriculture, and other sectors. But let's hear the details again from State House correspondent.
The Islamic Republic of Iran is now under severe economic sanctions imposed on the country by the West over nuclear and other issues of concern. The Iranian Vice President Mohsen Mansouri is here to solicit for Nigeria's understanding and support towards maintaining channels of communication and cooperation to enable his country break out of the isolation it finds itself in.
You know, Nigeria is a non-aligned country. We have our independent foreign policy that is not, we're not dictated to by any other country. And I think Iran understands that and understands that as a big country that is not dependent on any other country and not easily influenced by other countries, that Nigeria is a country that, you know, they can aspire to have closer relations with. especially trading relations, economic relations, and and also in other areas. They really want to expand these relations into all sectors.
President Buhari and the Iranian Vice President also devoted time to talk about the challenges of multilateralism and the need for it to be strengthened in the world for the benefit of all.
Iran and Nigeria both have an important role to play as big countries with rich human resources and and the wealth they have from natural resources. How they can also push for multilateralism to be the order of the day and avoid a unipolar world. They talked about setting up a joint commission between the two countries to be at the highest level possible as way forward. As leaders in the two different regions, that it was important for these two countries to take the lead.
President Buhari briefed his guest on the just concluded presidential election in Nigeria, saying the newly elected president will be taking over in May this year, and expressed the hope that the strong relations between the two countries built over the years will continue to endure. From Doha, State of Qatar, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Prayer of the living for the dead, the glorious Quran says, is a living seed that is highly recommended. This injunction suffices at the Fidel prayer for the late Abdul Hakim Ajibola Akombi, Director of Special Duties, Court of Appeal, and son of late Justice Mustafa Akombi, for Allah to grant him eternal rest. Abdullah Ajia reports that a similar prayer session, which held in Ilorin, attracted sympathizers from all walks of life.
That the Prophet said, Al-Maut Kafal Mawaiz. Death is enough as a sermon.
At a time when family members, friends and colleagues of late Abdul Hakim Ajibola Akombi converged on his Abuja residence for the 3-day Fidal prayer, Islamic clerics in their preaching said all should take solace in the words of Allah, which emphasizes the inevitability of death upon all creatures of Allah at an appointed time, and should now establish more dua for the deceased.
When a Muslim dies, nothing works for him again but 3 things. One of those 3 components is the prayer that you offer for that person.
As acknowledged by many, late Abdul Hakim was compassionate and a good Muslim. Invocations and recitation of Quran 67 were offered for Allah's mercy upon his soul.
He was patient to a fault. He had a very kind heart.
I'll miss somebody that I just like making him feel like, okay, just talk.
Similarly, sympathizers including Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdurrazak were at the Justice Mustafa Akombi's residence in Ilorin for the Fidal, which simultaneously held with that of Abuja.
This is a very difficult situation in the sense that we are shocked.
He was a very straightforward and an easygoing person. May Almighty Allah forgive his shortcomings.
Chief Imam of Ilorin, Sheikh Muhammad Bashir, prayed Allah to grant the deceased eternal mercy and urged the family to be more prayerful. Until his death on Saturday, 4th March 2023, he was the Director of Special Duties, among other positions held in the private and public sectors. He is survived by a wife and 3 children, as well as siblings. In Abuja, Abdullah Hajia, NTA News.
That's nationwide. Thank you very much for your time. Do have a pleasant evening. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Bye.